Oh no, you can see my sexy legs. Hello? Oh, something wrong with the couch, it squeaked at me. Okay, you don't need to look at me for this. You need to look down here. What are we looking at today, Dave? Oh, not a lot. Some stuff. Yeah. How are we going here? How are we looking? How are we looking? Oh, I know the little pieces, right? They're a little bit on the little side, aren't they? Get a bit of view. Yeah, I know. It's me $10 billion production. Stop your looking. Pawns. Control mechanisms. What are we talking about? Chessboard propaganda. Oh. Clandestine operatives. Misinformation, disinformation. Social engineering. Manufactured consent. All of that through propaganda. How we do that with a chessboard? Same way as any game of chess is played. Each pawn doesn't represent one person. Each pawn represents a whole demographic of our community. Now, while they're all on one line, they're kind of united in a row. Hard to break that, isn't it? So it's all about saving the hierarchy of power. You have a castle. First they have to breach the castle walls to get into the castle. Then they have to fight the knights. And then the bishops. But they all have a job to play before this happens. Because it's all about saving these two. It's got nothing to do with any of these out here. But do you notice there's a cross on that one? That's not the religion. That is the bishop. So we have our demographics, our castles, our different societies, I suppose you could say, different countries or whatever. Like, don't be so naive to think that they're all on the same team. But as Sun Tzu says, my enemy's enemy is my temporary ally. So someone you don't like, if they're an enemy of the same person you're an enemy with, and they serve a purpose to team up with you to fight against that enemy, they're your temporary ally. Just good friends, just for now. And then once we're finished, yeah, now you and me will go at it. Why? Because I want your resources too. So these guys, well, they're all about patriotism. Be patriot to your kingdom, your castle. You know, and they've got a couple of groups, and they'll all go off in their own direction. We've weakened a little bit now, haven't we? Okay, we've got our knights. Oh, we do it. Okay, we do it for God and country. We do it for the be all you can be army, right? Different mindset, different propaganda. Bishops, all the different religions, they'll fight. Oh, my God's better than your God. My God's got a bigger dick than your God. These two here, let's just say one's Xi Jinping, the South, and the Northern Hemisphere, Donald Trump. Or the West and the East, whatever you want to call it. And then you have one bunch of religious propaganda It fragments those guys who now are they're weakened even more. And they start falling and falling and falling by the wayside. Now, it's only that's only one aspect of it all. Then you have clandestine psyops propaganda. This guy painted black, and possibly this guy painted black, acting black. Everyone thinks he's black. Everyone thinks he's on their team. Let's just call this one Penny Wong. Why not? Let's call this one, I don't know, the radicalised Islam that's not really Muslim at all. It's just a radicalised bunch of people in the West who misinterpret faith for religion. Why? Well, these guys are misinterpreted by it. These guys not so much. They're misinterpreting these guys on purpose. Now we've got all these radicalised people everywhere stirring up all sorts of drama. Okay? But what happens when some of them start to figure out that they're being played? They need to have those beliefs reinforced, don't they? They need to face punishment if they do not do as they're told. So now you have to go over to their country and commit murder. Why? In the name of God and country. Because your bishop told you that your God is the only correct and true God. Because they trespassed on your sovereign ground, on your sovereign territory, on your land. They came and done a skid on your front lawn. Ready for another round. Only this time brings us to the final round. How? At the moment they're setting up the chessboard to take things back to a certain point. Back to a certain point that never really existed beforehand. How are they doing that? By reverse engineering the Monroe Doctrine. And by BRICS alliance to the BRICS economy, alliance to the Monroe Doctrine. And then you've got the Middle East and so forth, etc. and so on. Which brings us to 6 sides. And in the end of that, there will only be 2 victors that come out of it. People will have to form alliances with other nations will have to form alliances with other nations that originally weren't aligned together. Why? Because your enemy is my enemy, which makes us temporary allies. Come back up to me, shall we? And if we are temporary allies, then we shall combine our efforts against our mutual enemy. And that will align up in the end as a north and south economic structure. The northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere. And how will we stop the north and the south from fighting with each other? With one world governance. Instead of governance of the people, it will be a new world order. The last world order. And what does that look like? Go and have a look at the United Nations flag.